I've learned as an entrepreneur is that it's easier to start a six-figure business than it is to land a six-figure job. And even if you manage to land a six-figure job, you're probably not going to get that time and location independence that you would get owning your own business. So really, becoming a copywriter and starting your own business is a win-win. If you've been thinking about becoming a copywriter and how you can earn six figures doing it, I'm gonna give you the lowdown. But first, if you're new around here, my name's Liz. I'm a copywriter, content writer, and owner of an award-winning copywriting agency. And here on my channel, you're going to find tools, tips, tricks, courses, and resources to help you launch, grow, and scale your own copywriting business. So let's get into it. So let's start with, who does a copywriter work for? A copywriter is a B2B service provider, meaning your copywriting business will be providing services to other businesses. As a copywriter, you're gonna get paid to write sales pages, email copy, advertisements, product descriptions, any words that have the intention of making a sale, that's on you. You could even work at an agency or in-house for a brand, but today we're gonna talk about what it looks like if you started your own copywriting business. So what do copywriters really get paid to do? Anyone can write, but can anyone write copy that's going to move the needle? Copywriting is a highly specialized skill. A good copywriter not only knows what words to write, but what order to put them in. This takes knowledge of consumer behavior, marketing psychology, and a really good command of whatever language you're writing in. And don't forget, tons and tons and tons of research. As a copywriter, you'll probably spend more time researching than you actually do writing. Market research, competitor analysis, customer profiles, all of this plays a role in excellent copy. Here's the thing, copywriters aren't just paid to write, they're paid to know how to write. So let's look at some pros and cons of starting your own copywriting business. But first, let's look at what it means to actually own your own copywriting business. When you start your own copywriting business, you're working as a freelancer. That means you work with a variety of clients on a temporary basis. The duration of your contracts can vary. You can work with clients short-term or long-term, depending on the scope of work and your contractual agreement. So the pros of owning your own copywriting business. You are the boss. You source the clients, you manage the projects, you decide who to work with, and you set your prices. That means you control your own income. Your time belongs to you, the direction of the business is your responsibility, and you make all the decisions. Okay, now let's talk about some of the cons. Starting your own copywriting business is one of the most freeing, empowering things that you will ever do, but it doesn't come without its own stressors. Building your client base and your reputation takes a lot of time. And until your copywriting business is big enough for you to be able to outsource some tasks, you'll probably be wearing a lot of hats. But if you've got an entrepreneurial spirit and you're self-motivated and you crave the freedom of being able to work from wherever you want, for whoever you want, and whenever you want, and you're willing to put in the work to get to that point, starting a copywriting business might be the best decision that you'll ever make. Now that we've covered some of the basics, let's take a deeper dive into what it looks like to work as a copywriter. Plus, we'll get into that how to make six figures stuff. Let's start with different types of copywriting. There are a lot of types of copywriting. You never know what you might just find an affinity with. First, brand copywriting. Brand copywriting is all about the experiential part of the brand. A brand copywriter typically works with other members of a marketing team to develop campaigns, messaging, and advertising that creates a sensory experience rather than direct marketing campaigns. A brand's personality, tone, and language all play a role in brand copywriting. Let's look at an amazing example of brand copy, and that is the tagline that is on all of the Starbucks cups. And if you're not familiar, it's that first sip feeling. If I were to ask you how you like your coffee or your tea or whatever it is that you drink, and specifically your Starbucks order, you probably have something really, really specific in mind. And that first sip feeling is always the best. This tagline isn't pushing for an immediate sale. It's creating a feeling, a vibe, an emotion behind the brand. The simplistic design and the copy work together to create an alluring advertisement for their ideal clients, people who want a pleasurable, uplifting experience when they're drinking their coffee. With this tagline, Starbucks wants you to associate happiness with your cup of coffee, and it works. Next, direct response copywriting. This form of copywriting is what most people associate with copywriters. A direct response copywriter creates copy in a variety of different formats, such as landing pages, sales pages, email copy. A direct response copywriter writes the words that are meant to make the audience take an immediate action. And next, social media copywriting. Now, don't confuse this with social media content writing, although someone who specializes in social media copy probably is pretty good at writing social media content as well. Remember, copy is meant to sell, content is meant to tell. Social media copywriting is exactly what it sounds like, writing copy for social media. But the purpose of social media copywriting is to push the audience to take an action, whether that's to click a link or follow the page or make a purchase. And keep in mind that social media content writing is to build that know, like, and trust and engage your audience through education and information. And you need both social media copy and content for a successful sales funnel. Now let's talk about UX copywriting, which is user experience copywriting. With UX copy, what you say is just as important as where you say it. UX copywriting is all about that user's journey through your website and their experience while they're there. UX copywriting involves structuring copy in a way that moves the audience seamlessly toward an action. Structure, user journey, and design all play a role in great UX copy. So if you find that you prefer to create that path for a customer when they're visiting a website and creating that optimal experience, you might just find that UX copywriting is where you excel. All right, now on to one of my favorites, email copywriting. Email copywriting can be part of direct response copywriting. Email copywriting is an entire skill set on its own. Email is still one of the #1 ways to connect with a warm audience, and email copywriters are in high demand. An email copywriter can create power-packed copy in fewer words, knows how to A/B test headlines, appreciates that a user could click unsubscribe if the value isn't there, and is up to date on email deliverability practices. And finally, we're going to talk about SEO copywriting. It's important for all copywriters to understand at least some aspects of SEO, but copywriters who specialize in SEO are in a league of their own. A business with an SEO copywriter on their side has a super advantage because that copywriter can write words that appeal to search engines and to search engine users. And that's actually way more complicated than it sounds. All right, into the nitty gritty, let's talk about the money stuff. How can you make 6 figures as a copywriter? Let's dive right in. What should you charge as a beginner? What should you charge as an intermediate level copywriter? What about when you're more experienced? And how do you break it down so that you are making 6 figures per year? First, let's break down what a 6-figure year looks like if you were working a full 40-hour week, and if you were charging by the hour. We'll talk more about project-based pricing a little bit later. So 6 figures a year is $100,000. That's $8,333 per month, which is $2,083.25 per week. That's $416.65 per working day. That's if you work a 5-day work week. And if you're working 8 hours per day, that's just a little over $52 an hour. So baseline to make 6 figures as a copywriter, you need to charge $52 an hour. Part of what's so attractive about becoming a copywriter and starting your own copywriting business is that you don't have to work those full work days. You don't even have to work a full work week. You can really work whenever you want to. So let's break it down even further so that you can see how to make 6 figures without having to feel like you're chained to a regular job, even if you're a brand new copywriter. So now that you know the minimums and the baseline, let's talk about charging hourly for copywriting. One thing you should keep in mind is that copywriting is a specialized skill, and you can charge accordingly. Let's look at some average rates from beginner copywriters to advanced copywriters. So do the math using these breakdowns. You can make 6 figures as a copywriter working less than a full-time work week easily. And the more technical skills that you have, the more education that you have, and the more experience you have, the more you can charge. And remember, that's just an hourly breakdown. So let's move on to project-based pricing. Maybe you don't want to charge by the hour, and instead you want to charge per project, meaning charging a flat fee for a sales page, an email sequence, or so on. You can hit 6 figures as a copywriter even more easily with project-based pricing, especially if you've nailed down your process. Let's look at some of the most common copywriting projects and prices by beginner, intermediate, and advanced level copywriters. These are some pretty impressive numbers, right? And they're totally achievable. But keep in mind that while you need to charge what you're worth, it goes both ways. If you're not experienced enough or haven't developed your skills enough to be able to deliver excellent, effective, persuasive copy that generates real results, you're not ready to raise your prices. Copywriting offers massive growth potential, and your pricing isn't just dependent on the number of years in the field. You might excel a lot more quickly than a lot of other people. You might deliver top-notch customer experiences, generate massive revenue for your clients, and create an awesome reputation for yourself straight out of the gate. You could raise your prices more quickly. And really, in the end, it's all up to you. When you become a copywriter and start your own freelance copywriting business, you're the boss. You set your rates. And the best part is, if it doesn't really matter to you whether or not you're making six figures or multiple six figures, you can work less time and still make enough money to live on. And depending on what you charge, you could actually make six figures working part-time. So now that we've gotten the numbers out of the way and you're ready to start your dream career as a copywriter, let's talk about the steps you need to take to make that happen. Number one, learn the basic skills. Everything and everyone starts with the basics. You can't start writing amazing copy and charging the big bucks if you don't even have your foundations in place. So let's talk about those skills. First, writing skills. This should really go without saying. A copywriter needs to have writing skills. And I'm not just talking good spelling and grammar, although those are important. I'm talking about the ability to write in an engaging way, a way that flows like conversations and builds relationships with an audience. So if you're not a good writer, copywriting is not going to be a good fit for you. But if you're inherently good with words and writing comes second nature to you, you can take the skills you already have, fine-tune them, and apply them to writing copy. Next, research skills. Remember earlier when I said being a copywriter involves a ton of research? I meant that. And I can't reiterate it enough. You need to know how to perform adequate research on your audience. You need to know how to analyze a customer journey. You need to understand how to gather in-depth information, how to translate it, and how to apply it. And next, empathy. Even if empathy doesn't come completely naturally to you, you can learn how people's emotions influence their purchasing decisions. If you want to become a copywriter, you need to know what makes an audience tick so that way you know what makes them click. You need to be able to tap into consumer psychology, dig deep into their core desires, and bring them to the surface. And next, persuasion. Once you figure out what someone wants, you can compel them to make a purchase. Here's the thing, you don't want to convince someone to make a purchase from you. Instead, you want to compel them so that way they feel like they're making that decision on their own and that it's a good decision. So what persuades someone to buy? At the core of every purchase is emotion, no matter what the product is. Even the least emotional purchases you can think of, like tax preparation, are driven by emotion. For example, in the case of tax preparation, it would be relief or peace of mind. And last, critical thinking. When it comes to copywriting, applying critical thinking might look like dissecting the user journey on a sales page, figuring out where to apply calls to action, where to use urgency, and where to use negative and positive future pacing. So once you've nailed those core copywriting skills, let's talk about determining your niche. If you're a new copywriter, it might be tempting to just jump into any gig that's going to pay you. But if you don't start with a focus, you're probably gonna get overwhelmed. I always recommend to new copywriters that when you're first getting started, start with something that you know and that you like. For example, if you're really into health and science, medical copywriting might be a really good fit. If you're up to date on the latest gadgets, tech writing might be your thing. You know what they say, the riches are in the niches, and here's why. Let's say two copywriters approach a potential client. One copywriter specializes in that client's niche and the other one's a generalist. The client is more likely to choose the person that is more well-suited to their industry. And they're usually willing to pay more for that type of experience. Keep in mind that while some niches are more lucrative than others, don't choose something that you hate just because it pays well. You will end up burning yourself out. Next, nail down your services. So now you know what you want to write about. What's next? The next step in becoming a copywriter is figuring out what you want your services to actually be. Do you want to write only sales pages? Did you take an email copywriting course and decide, hey, this is totally for me? Or is ad copy your jam? Decide on your services, create your pricing structure, and you can refer back to those prices we talked about earlier, and you'll be on your way to making six figures as a copywriter. Next, identify your dream clients. Okay, so you know what niche you want to write for and you know what type of copy you want to write. Now it's time to figure out who you want to write for. Who's your dream client? Do you want to work with startups? Do you want to work with solopreneurs? Do you want to serve exclusively women-owned businesses? Figure out who your dream clients are, research where they hang out online, and what pain points that your copywriting could solve. And then next, build your copywriting portfolio. Copywriting is super unique in that you don't have to have actual clients or actual experience to create your portfolio. In fact, you can create a portfolio with no experience at all. And if you're following these steps in order, you've determined your niche, you've decided what type of copy you want to write, and you know exactly who you want to write for. Now you're going to create a portfolio for those dream clients. Think of your dream clients and who they serve. What kind of copy might they need? Create copy for your portfolio that would appeal to your dream clients. Next, let's talk about creating your digital presence. This, in my opinion, is the most fun part about starting your own copywriting business. you get to use that creative side of your brain to market yourself. So here are some fundamental digital assets you need when you're starting your copywriting business. Number one, a website, even if it's just from a template. And you need to have a blog on it to showcase your expertise. Number two, social media channels. And focus on social media channels where your dream clients are spending their time. Three, an email address. Even better if it's a you@yourdomain.com. And number four, a calendar link. This makes it easy for potential clients to book a discovery call with you. And these are the basics. As your copywriting business grows, you can add other digital assets like a podcast or a YouTube channel, or expand to new social media sites and achieve more of an omnipresence. Next, build your backend. Once you start getting clients, you need to know how to manage them. Create systems and processes for onboarding, project management, and offboarding. For example, I use Monday.com. The more organized your systems and processes are, the less time you have to spend on administrative tasks, and the more time you can spend actually writing and working on your business, making hitting that six-figure mark even easier. And next, make it official. Get your legal stuff in order. Register your business, get your freelancer contracts in place, and talk to a CPA and figure out how to file taxes and get business insurance. And then it's time to pitch yourself. Now's the time to go out and find those dream clients. But how do you do it? There's a ton of ways to get your first copywriting client. You could reach out to people you know. If you know someone that owns a business, chances are they need copywriting. That's actually 100% chance. Every business needs copywriting. Reach out to your business owner friends and ask them if there's anything that you can take off their plate. In terms of copy, business owners are busy. If you can take something off somebody's plate, that's a selling point on its own. Or you could network, attend a local business owners networking event, or find networking groups online. And hey, you could even cold pitch. This is actually a really common, and if you do it right, really effective way to get clients. Cold pitching involves sending messages to people you don't personally know that haven't reached out to you first. And there's a right and a wrong way to do cold pitching, so do it right. You could join freelancer sites. If you approach freelancer sites as a professional opportunity instead of a quick grab for clients, which is a common mistake, these sites can actually be really lucrative. Get familiar with sites like Upwork or People Per Hour and create connections with people who are looking specifically for your services. And hey, pitch yourself again. Don't be afraid of rejection, especially if you're just starting out and you don't have any social proof like testimonials. It can take time to get your first client, but don't get discouraged. Every single copywriter on earth started out as a beginner. As someone who's dedicated their life to the craft of copywriting, I can tell you that copywriting is one of the most flexible, lucrative careers in the world. And I want to be the first one to say congratulations on this new journey in your life. You're going to love it. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you hit like and subscribe, drop a comment, and let me know where you are on your journey to becoming a six-figure copywriter. I'll see you next video. And in the meantime, you can find me at lizslyman.com or connect with me on Instagram at Let's Talk Copy.